You know, I still can't believe what I heard. It feels like a movie, a bad one, and I'm just an unwitting extra who got dragged into the main plot. My life, my entire life, was built on a lie, a secret that was never meant for my ears. And now, I'm left wondering, was I wrong for listening? Was I wrong for confronting them? Or was I just a fool to believe in the perfect family I thought I had? Tell me honestly, would you have done the same thing if your world shattered in an instant? Because right now, I don't know who to trust, and I don't know what to do. It all started on a Saturday morning, a seemingly normal one, like any other weekend in our house. The smell of coffee was brewing, and the faint sound of my dad's classic rock radio station was filtering in from the garage. My parents, David and Sarah, were, to all appearances, the quintessential happy couple. They'd been together since high school, a real fairytale romance, or so I thought. They had me, their only child, and our life was comfortable, predictable, and full of the kind of warmth you see in Hallmark movies. My dad, a retired engineer, spent his days tinkering in the garage or golfing with his buddies. My mom, a part-time librarian, filled her time with gardening and volunteering. They were my rock, my foundation, the people I looked up to, the epitome of stability. I was planning to visit them that morning anyway, because I wanted to drop off some paperwork for my college financial aid. I'm currently a junior studying graphic design, and they've always been incredibly supportive of my dreams. I pulled into the driveway, noticing my dad's car was there, which was a little unusual for a Saturday morning. Usually, he'd be out on the golf course by now. I grabbed my backpack and headed for the front door, planning to just pop in, say hello, and then head to the library to study. As I approached the house, I could hear voices from inside, my parents, but something was off. The tone wasn't their usual playful banter. It was hushed, urgent, almost frantic. Curiosity, that dangerous beast, got the better of me. Instead of ringing the doorbell, I paused, my hand hovering over the cold brass. The living room window was open just a crack, letting in a sliver of the conversation. I know, eavesdropping is wrong. But a primal instinct, a knot in my stomach, told me to listen. You have to tell him, David. My mom's voice, strained and tearful, cut through the morning air. He's 17 now. He deserves to know. My dad's reply was a low growl, laced with anger. No, Sarah, we agreed. It stays buried. It always stays buried. My heart started to pound. What could possibly be buried? What secret could they have that was so devastating it brought my usually stoic father to such a raw display of emotion? I pressed myself closer to the wall, feeling like a criminal, but utterly unable to move. But he's coming to town next week. My mom continued, her voice rising slightly. His mother is ill, and he wants to meet you. After all these years, he wants to meet his father. The words hit me like a physical blow. Asterisk his mother asterisk. Asterisk his father asterisk. Asterisk he's coming to town asterisk. It was like a puzzle with missing pieces suddenly clicking into place, forming a horrifying picture. My dad had a son, a secret son, and he was 17. That meant he was only a few years younger than me. The implications crashed down on me, one after another, like dominoes. My parents had been together since high school. How could this be? Was my dad a cheat? Had he had an affair? Was my entire childhood a lie? Was I not truly an only child? The world tilted on its axis. Every memory, every family photo, every loving gesture suddenly felt tainted, viewed through a murky, distorted lens. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, frozen, listening to the fragments of their conversation. My dad was arguing against telling this son. this stranger anything. He wanted to maintain the illusion of their perfect family, his perfect life. My mom, however, was clearly conflicted, torn between loyalty to her husband and what she felt was right. "Think about Mark, David," she pleaded. "Think about how this will affect him if he finds out from someone else. Mark asterisk." So that was his name. Another name to add to this rapidly expanding, incredibly painful mystery. My head was spinning. I felt sick, a cold dread spreading through my veins. The image of my dad, the man I idolized, the man who taught me how to ride a bike and helped me with my math homework, suddenly blurred. Who was he, really, and who was I, in this new, twisted reality? The paperwork for my financial aid felt heavy in my backpack, a meaningless weight compared to the burden of this newfound knowledge. I couldn't face them, not now. I needed time to process, to breathe, to figure out what any of this meant. I silently backed away from the house, got back into my car, and drove away, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles were white. The college financial aid could wait. My entire life was falling apart. For the next few days, I walked around in a fog. Every interaction with my parents felt like a performance. I tried to act normal, asking about their day, pretending to be engrossed in my studies, all while a gaping wound was festering inside me. I watched them, searching for clues, for any hint of the deception I now knew existed. My mom seemed more withdrawn, her usual cheerful demeanor replaced by a quiet pensiveness. My dad, on the other hand, was outwardly the same, perhaps a little more irritable than usual, but otherwise completely oblivious to the fact that his secret was out, at least to me. It made me sick to my stomach. How could they live with this? How could he live with this? And how could they have let me believe for so long that I was their only child, that our family was complete and perfect? The betrayal stung, a constant, dull ache in my chest. I felt like I was suffocating under the weight of this secret, a secret that wasn't even mine to begin with. I spent hours on the internet researching. I typed in secret children, paternity fraud, hidden families. Each article, each forum post, felt like another nail in the coffin of my innocence. I learned about the devastating impact such secrets could have on all parties involved: the hidden child, the existing family, the parents themselves. It was a messy, heartbreaking scenario, and I was now smack dab in the middle of it. I even started to question my own identity. If my father was capable of such a monumental lie, what else was he capable of? Was I truly his son? The thought was terrifying, irrational even, but it gnawed at me. My mind raced, trying to put together the pieces. Had there been any clues I missed over the years? Any strange phone calls, any hushed conversations, any unexplained trips? Nothing obvious came to mind, which only solidified the depth of the deception. They were masters of it. My parents, the people I trusted most in the world, were keeping a monumental secret from me. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. I was living with this heavy burden, watching my parents, knowing something they thought I didn't. The pressure was immense. Should I keep quiet and pretend I never heard anything? Should I confront them, risking tearing my family apart? Should I somehow try to find this Mark and tell him the truth myself? Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. It was agonizing, truly. I couldn't live with the silence anymore. The weight of the secret was crushing me. I decided I had to confront them, even if it meant destroying everything. It was a Tuesday evening, after dinner. My mom was doing the dishes, and my dad was watching TV in the living room. I walked in, my heart hammering against my ribs, and turned off the television. My dad looked up, annoyed. "Hey, what gives?" he asked. My mom came in from the kitchen, a confused look on her face. "Mom, Dad," I started, my voice trembling despite my best efforts to keep it steady. "We need to talk about Mark." The color drained from my mother's face. My dad froze, his eyes widening in shock and then narrowing in anger. "What are you talking about, son?" he growled, trying to maintain an air of innocence. But his voice cracked, betraying him. "Don't lie to me," I retorted, my voice gaining strength with the surge of emotion. "I overheard you two talking about your secret son, Mark, about him coming to town, about him wanting to meet his father." The words hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. My mom burst into tears, covering her face with her hands. My dad, however, remained stony-faced, his jaw clenched. "You shouldn't have been eavesdropping," he finally said, his voice low and dangerous. "That was private." "Private?" I scoffed, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. "My entire life is built on a lie, and you call it private. Who is he, Dad? And why did you keep him a secret?" The dam broke. My mom, through her sobs, started to explain. It was a story straight out of a soap opera. My dad, in his early 20s, before he met my mom, had a brief, whirlwind romance with a woman he met while traveling for work. It was a one-night stand, a mistake, a lapse in judgment, as he called it. He never knew she was pregnant until years later, when she tracked him down and informed him she had a son, Mark, and that he was the father. She didn't want anything from him, just for him to know. My dad, terrified of losing my mom and destroying their future, begged her to keep it a secret. He provided child support anonymously, through a lawyer, and had never actually met Mark. My mom, devastated but unwilling to leave him, had agreed to keep the secret, believing it was the only way to protect our family, to protect *me*. Mark's mother was now very ill, and Mark, almost an adult, had expressed a desire to meet his biological father before it was too late. He had tracked them down through old records, and that's what the fight was about, whether to finally tell him the truth, and more importantly, whether to finally tell *me*. The revelation hit me with a fresh wave of pain. Not only did I have a secret half-brother, but my dad had actively chosen to hide his existence, and my mom had gone along with it. It wasn't a mistake, it was a decades-long deception. I looked at my dad, the man who was supposed to be my hero, and saw a stranger. "How could you?" I whispered, my voice thick with emotion. "How could you do this to us, to me?" My dad finally broke, his stoic facade crumbling. Tears welled in his eyes, and he buried his face in his hands. "I was scared, son," he choked out. "I was so scared of losing everything, of losing you and your mother." The aftermath was a whirlwind of raw emotions. There were more tears, more shouting, more apologies. My mom, guilt-ridden, tried to bridge the gap, explaining how much she regretted keeping it from me. My dad, still reeling, was finally forced to confront the consequences of his actions. I insisted that Mark be told the truth, and that I wanted to meet him. It was my right, and Mark's right, to know. So, a week later, I found myself sitting in a coffee shop, heart-pounding, waiting for a stranger who was also my brother. My dad was there, looking nervous and older than his years. My mom was too, offering moral support, though I could see the anxiety etched on her face. Then, the door opened, and a young man walked in. He looked remarkably like my dad, with the same strong jawline and deep, set eyes, but with a softer, almost melancholic expression. He was Mark. The first meeting was awkward, filled with stilted conversation and unspoken emotions. But as the days turned into weeks, and we started spending more time together, a bond began to form. Mark was a good kid, quiet and thoughtful, and he had been through a lot. His mother's illness, the shock of finding out his biological father was a man he never knew, it was a lot for a 17-year-old to handle. We talked for hours, sharing stories about our lives, our hopes, our dreams. We discovered we had a lot in common, a shared sense of humor, a love for sci-fi movies, and even a similar taste in music. It was surreal, finding a brother I never knew existed, someone who had been living parallel to my life all this time. The revelation shattered my perception of my family, but it also opened a new chapter, a complicated but ultimately enriching one. My relationship with my parents is still fractured. The trust has been deeply broken, and it's something we're still working on, slowly, painfully. But I know they regret it, and they're trying to make amends. Mark has become a part of our lives, tentatively at first, but now with a growing sense of belonging. He's my brother, and despite the messy circumstances, I wouldn't trade that for anything. My life will never be the same. The perfect family illusion has been shattered, replaced by a more complex, messier, and ultimately more real one. It's been a journey of anger, betrayal, and profound sadness, but also of unexpected connection and the discovery of a new family member. It's still a work in progress, a complicated tapestry woven with threads of truth and deception, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we can heal, that we can rebuild, and that one day the pain will fade, leaving behind only the love and the unique, undeniable bond of family. So, that's my story. It's been a wild ride, and I'm still navigating the aftermath. Like this video if you were on my side. If you think I did the right thing by confronting them and bringing Mark into our lives. Subscribe for more stories like this, stories that prove life is stranger than fiction, and that family secrets can change everything. And please, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. What would you have done? How do you rebuild trust after something like this? I'll see you all in the next story.